You know, there's an article that I was just reading talking about the great mortgage company consolidation taking place right before our eyes, where many non-banks are going to find a way to cash in their chips, move on, or find strategic partners. This is happening again. If you don't necessarily want to be a part of this, or you want to look at options as a loan officer because you have to look after yourself, there's a lot of options on the table with a lot of great companies. I got some ideas about what I would look for in a good company. If you want to have that conversation with me, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. A discreet conversation. All you have to do is just click this banner right over there, and we'll make sure that we reach out to you. With that said, on with the show. So, irony is funny. Isn't that kind of ironic in itself? Think about that for a second. Now, the mortgage and real estate industry are full of irony. For example, the fact that Zillow is a real estate broker in every market in the country and play by different rules, yet is endorsed by the association whose sole job is to protect realtors, is itself ironic. But that's not the point of today's show. I'm just pointing out irony in the industry. Now, here's one. U.S. job openings jumped to 10.7 million. Labor market still too hot for the Fed. So they just raised the benchmark like we saw. The number of workers who quit in September stays above 4 million for the 15th straight month. But that's not enough for the Fed. If we want the Fed to quit wringing the neck of our economy by raising rates and lowering their balance sheet, we need more people to get fired from their jobs, kicked out of their homes, and quit buying stuff. Only then will the Fed take their foot off the necks of us. That, my friends, is ironic. We simply aren't suffering enough right now. If you think I'm wrong, get this. The number of job openings is viewed as a way to assess the strength of the labor market and the broader economy. Although companies still list a high number of open jobs, the total has fallen off from the record 11.9 million in March. Yet the Fed wants to see the mismatch between high job openings and the relative scarcity of available workers shrink at a faster pace. Told you so. Our relationship with the Fed is like an old married couple. The Fed, like our wives, just won't stop until they're satisfied that we are adequately miserable. I'm just kidding. Now, here's the thing. What if the Fed overshoots their mark? Kind of like this guy. We just crash and burn. You see, our inflation just came in at 8%, and that's too high. By the way, Great Britain right now, their inflation is over 10%, and the Bank of England, which basically is their central bank, is now calling for the longest protracted recession in the history of the empire. But back to the story at hand, 8% for us. Now, what if the Fed can't get inflation down to the goal of 2%, that figure, that it sticks somewhere around 3%? Then what? Here's one way the inflation story might go. The Federal Reserve, after raising interest rates by 75 basis points last Wednesday, does so again in smaller steps in December and February, as we all expect. The rate at which consumer prices are rising falls from its current 8 to 2%, and unemployment rises modestly to around 4.5%. That's the scenario the Fed hopes for. But what if inflation doesn't go back to 2%, but instead sticks somewhere at 3% or higher? Then what? Things could get kind of scary, couldn't it? What if consumers keep spending even when inflation is going lower? What that means is that even if we get inflation under control, the prices we pay for goods and services don't go back down to manageable numbers, but remain what we think today is artificially high, meaning the prices we pay today are just the new norms, that our money simply doesn't go as far, and the standard of living is more or less permanently compromised. The question is, under this circumstance, which is on the table, is that good enough for you? For me, I don't know. But if I could play armchair quarterback for a minute and reminisce about the past couple of years, like when my kids were getting paid for staying at home and doing nothing, to the tune of trillions of dollars that were infused into our economy, I'd like to take that move back, because I don't know if we can simply walk back our bad policies and decision making. Boy, what a mess we find ourselves in right now, don't you think? But what are your opinions? Share them with us and let us respond down below. And if you're catching us for the first time, hit the text messaging for updates throughout the day up top, and we'll send you some SMS text messages if anything goes down that we think you should know about. With that said, make it a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.